2022's Firestarter is based off of the Stephen King novel of the same name, and there's also a 1984 film of the same name based on the Stephen King book that stars a young Drew Barrymore. As for this movie, let me look up the cast here. We got director Keith Thomas. Let me see if I recognize him from anything. By the way, there's going to be no spoilers for this. I don't think this movie quite warrants a, dedicated spoiler section. So, I'll just be reviewing the movie as is. It looks like he did Arcane from 2017, a short. I wonder if that's the same Arcane. No, it doesn't look like it. Not the same thing from League of Legends. But let me see here. There's nothing that I'm recognizing from this director here. Looks like he's a director and producer. As for the writers, obviously it's based on the novel by Stephen King, which I mentioned before. And the screenplay here is by Scott Teems. And let's see if I recognize him from anything. See, this is what I love about recording from home. I can actually use my resources to look at the cast as opposed to my family camp review. It looks like this guy, Scott Teems, has worked on Halloween Kills. He was the writer on that. Let me see. He's working on the story for the new Exorcist show or movie. I can't remember which one, but I've heard about that. In pre-production for Insidious 5. Oh, and that's about all I recognize here, but he's definitely worked with horror before. And this movie, I said before that it's like a horror movie, and it's kind of like Brightburn. And both of those are true, but this is also more of a sci-fi movie than a horror movie, I guess. After watching the film, I don't think that Brightburn would be connected to this because it's not based off of the Stephen King novel. I could see this movie potentially getting a sequel, but I don't think it's going to end up doing well enough to get that sequel since it came out the weekend after Multiverse of Madness. I can't imagine it's going to do that well up against that behemoth. But a little unfortunate because I actually kind of like the movie. Let me give you the cast here. I don't even know if people have really been seeing the trailers for this, but from the trailers alone, it didn't look that great. There were some cheesy lines in there, like liar, liar, pants on fire, and then, the pants catch on fire. If you don't know what this movie is about, or what the story is about in general, here's the synopsis. A young girl tries to understand how she mysteriously gained the power to set things on fire with her mind. And, small kind of spoiler here. She can do more than just that. Man, actually, there are some decent things to talk about in terms of spoilers here. But I don't really want to give any of that away. I think it's worth a watch, especially since it's on Peacock, I believe. Pretty sure. 99.9% sure that it's on Peacock. So if you want to go watch it and you don't feel like going to the theaters, which honestly, don't waste your money on this movie. It's not like, I don't think it's fully worth the theater going experience. But yeah, like streaming, perfect. But as the main character here, Charlie McGee, we have Ryan Kiara Armstrong. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. We also have Zac Efron as her father, Andy McGee. We have Sydney Lemon as Vicky McGee, the mother. One of the villains of this movie, Michael Grey Eyes. Yeah, we should be saying that right. As Rainbird, Gloria Rubin as Captain Hollister, and Kurtwood Smith as Dr. Joseph Wainless. Don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, Kurtwood Smith plays Red on that 70s show, and they're going to be making that 90s show soon, or they're making it right now. It'll come out soon. But the real standout for me, aside from the main actor here who plays Charlie, which I think she did a really great job, Zac Efron as Andy. Every time I see Zac Efron in a movie that's like supposed to be somewhat serious, he always surprises me. Like, I forget the title, but the one where he plays Ted Bundy, extremely yeah, I'm not even going to attempt what the title is because I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched that, but he was really great in that to the point where I was kind of afraid of him for a little bit. I was just like, damn, I would not want to meet him. But yeah, I thought he was a really good character in this film, a really good actor in the film. Sydney Lemon, she didn't have a whole lot to do in the film. So, she didn't, I mean, yeah. But, Michael Grey Eyes, I thought was a somewhat interesting character. I mean, aside from the two pretty much main characters here, Andy and Charlie, the father and the daughter, they don't really give a whole lot of backstory to any of the other characters. It's a pretty short movie. I think it's like an hour and a half or so. So they got a lot to do in that short amount of time. But, I mean, I liked it overall. I don't think it was bad. I'm not going to be rushing back to watch it. I don't know when the next time I would watch it would be. Probably won't end up on my top 10 best of this year. But maybe not on my top 10 worst either. So, yeah. I don't think it'll end up on my top 10 worst, but Family Camp, maybe. But yeah, pretty good cast. Like I said, Zac Efron always surprises me in these types of roles, so kudos to him for doing a good job in the film. And you know what? For those of you who are curious about what I have to say in terms of spoilers, if you have seen it, or if you're just curious and you don't want to watch the movie, I have a few things to say. So if you don't want to hear your spoilers, either if you're on YouTube, click off the video, or if you're on the podcast, I'll figure something out to try and be like, skip ahead this amount of time. But, yeah, it's Firestarter, you know. I only have a couple things to say. They're minor spoilers that don't ruin the plot. So, yeah, if you're really that worried about it, then just leave. But, like, it's really minor stuff. So, basically, the whole intro of the film is Zac Efron's character and Sydney Lemon's character being tested on while they're in college. And, you know, it's really foggy whether or not they had the abilities before or if they got them during the testing. I think it's before, like, they had the abilities and then they got tested. But then they have this daughter who has abilities too. So all three of them have abilities. So that's kind of interesting there. I guess that's not really a huge spoiler, especially like, I don't know. They don't address it in the trailers, I don't think, but I haven't really watched many of the trailers. So they mainly focus on the girl and her powers of being able to, you know, start fighters as, you know, as the title makes you believe. She definitely does that, but some pretty good gore in the film, that's for sure. I think it had some pretty decent gore. It is rated R, so they're able to do some somewhat gory stuff with, like, you know, melting people, essentially. That was pretty fucked up. There might have been a situation with a cat, which I think that was in the trailers. But goddamn, when it goes down, it goes down. You know, you see her using her abilities throughout the film, but you don't see it, like, in full effect until the final act, which is perfect, you know? You don't want to, and this sounds weird since it's like a kid character, but you don't want to bust your load, you know, in the beginning, and then, you know, the climax isn't as, you know, entertaining, as appealing. And a lot of movies do this, like, you know, Avengers, the first Avengers. I mean, plenty of the superhero movies in general, which makes sense because, like, they kind of address it. It's like, she's kind of a superhero in a way if she can hone in on her abilities. But it's like, you don't want to have crazy action and just, like, do all your crazy stuff up front and then also have a crazy final battle, because it's just going to be like, all right, well, this movie was just all crazy. It didn't feel like it was leading up to anything. And for this, it definitely did feel like it was leading up to something. And I appreciate the movie for that. But also, it's, you know, not the greatest movie I've ever seen. I've seen it done better in Brightburn, I feel like. But it has been a minute since I watched Brightburn. I don't remember if I, like, absolutely love that movie. But I think the concept of that movie alone is a little bit better for me, I guess. And the execution in that movie was a little bit better in this one. Or a little bit better in that one as opposed to this one. But, yeah, have you seen Brightburn? Let me know what you think down in the comments below if you were on YouTube. Or if you're on the podcast, you know, hit me up on Instagram at Pop Culture Podcast. Let me know what you thought. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you in the middle? I'm leaning... I can't say I love it, but I like it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to give this movie I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. I haven't listened to any other reviews. I know, I think it's Chris Parker, right? 3C Films. Just from his thumbnail alone, it looked like he was a little disappointed. But, you know, they do that stuff sometimes to try and throw you off. But, yeah, I'll have to listen to his review after I do this one to see what he thought of the movie. But I'm very curious to see what other people thought of the film. I thought it was pretty good, but nothing to write home about. But, yeah, there's my review for 2022's Firestarter. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're on the podcast, let's get into my tier list.